Pulling the trigger on solar has been by far the most intimidating project we've done so far.
I never touched real electrical work, had no clue how many panels I needed, and definitely didn't know how I was going to afford any of it. But my generator doesn't really like cold weather and blew a head gasket, so I realized that wasn't going to cut it for sub-freezing temperatures in winter. Time for a plan B. The first question is always how much? How much solar do I need? How much is it going to cost me?
Lucky for me, I was anticipating this, so I started monitoring my power daily with one of these Power Watchdog surge protectors.
Now, we use around 5 to 7 kilowatt hours a day, most of that at night when everyone is inside, so I knew I wanted to find something with around 10 kilowatt hours worth of power storage so that in the worst case scenario, I've got 2 days of power.
So I decided to build modularly, that way I could get what I need now, but continue to grow as our bank account and needs grow. 8 415 watt panels is going to give me what I need to grow a little bit before I need to get any more panels.
10 kilowatt hours of batteries in a server rack with room to add 4 more gives me enough energy right now, while again, still room to grow. Now my 8 kilowatt inverter gives me all the power that I need to run my RV at full tilt with a little bit extra for running the shed out here. It is extremely overwhelming to look through all the solar products available. For me, it came down to how easily I understood the product being offered. When going to SunGold Powered's website, I was easily able to find diagrams and manuals. I was able to understand what products were being offered, and really, they just picked up the phone when I called and spent some time talking to me about it.
Now, the biggest question I had during all of this was, how do I do it? I had no clue how to do anything electrical, so of course, I went to YouTube.
I found so many great guys and gals on YouTube that walk you through solar, notably Mr. Will Prowse. He has a great understanding of the technical aspects of solar, so I would definitely treat him as a starting point and then kind of go from there.
Now, with all my research, I decided to split the project up into a couple different segments.
Building my solar stand and mounting the panels, wiring my solar panels together and running lines to the solar shed, wiring my battery server rack, setting up my circuit breaker panel and outlets, connecting power sources and panels to my inverter, and finally, grounding the whole system.
With all my research finally complete, I was able to put together a total plan of everything I was actually trying to do here.
First, we've got to build a mount and attach some solar panels. Behind the panels, we're going to connect them in series, run a ground wire, and run some PV lines from the panels to my solar shed. Inside my solar shed, we will run the PV lines through a 25 amp PV breaker and from there into the inverter. Now the inverter will run power to and energize our circuit breaker panel, where I will run one 50 amp plug for my RV and a 20 amp GFCI circuit. Now for any power surplus and when the sun is down, we'll run off the battery server rack, 2 batteries in parallel wired into a 200 amp breaker, and then into the inverter. The whole system will be grounded with a single 8-foot copper grounding rod located behind my shed. The whole setup cost me around $8,000. That included the kit, the mount, and the electrical components for the circuit breaker panel and the outlets, not to mention a hefty amount of tools because I had no tools to work with electrical when I started this process. Next video I'll show you how I made the solar mount and how I mounted the panels. There were quite a few lessons learned here, so I'll try and show you what I screwed up so you don't make the same mistakes. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you are an electrician or solar expert, please tell me what I have done wrong or how I could do this better, because I will be expanding the system and I want to get this right the first time. I don't really know what I'm doing, but as always, I'm gonna do it anyway.
A bippity boppity boopy. A bippity bee. A bippity ba. A bippity blue.
Perfect.